Are the markets overreacting a bit because we've never had a trade deadline? Yeah, we got December 15th, but that had been moved back. I think these are some of the first comments that we are hearing, though, about pushing any kind of a deal back till after the election.
Yeah, listen, I don't know which forecast you've seen, but pretty much every bullish forecast I've heard for next year involves at least a trade war pause, if not a trade deal. The last 24 hours have not felt very pause-like, nor have they felt very deal-like. In fact, it does not shock me that the president has said that this might be until after the election, because in the end, I don't think any phase one trade deal with China is going to go over very well politically in Washington, D.C. I don't think it's going to be particularly strong, especially given all the national security concerns about China. So it doesn't shock me, but apparently markets are a little surprised.
Well, I'll tell you what, maybe the shock should go the other way. And because to your point, and I'll see you and raise, in the last 24 hours, we just got those comments about maybe wait until after 2020. Okay, that's new. But in the last 24 hours, we have the very real threat now of more tariffs on $2.5 billion worth of European goods. Europe, of course, said they will react. And tariffs on imported steel and aluminum from Brazil and Argentina. So not only did we get a roll back, we arguably got a ramp up. Maybe we should be asking why the markets aren't down more.
Yeah, listen, let's say we had a phase one trade deal. Given what we just saw with the Brazil and Argentina and what we've seen previously from Mexico, there's really no such thing as like a done deal, because a president can always return to these situations and say, you know, I don't like something else you're doing. Let's go back to tariffs. So it's sort of like a forever trade war. If any forecast is built on some sort of new normal of trade peace, again, the last 24 hours suggests that is really a meaningless hope.
Well, it's kind of like, you know, and again, I don't mean this to be insulting in any way, but it's kind of like a parent-child relationship in some ways where it's the president, you know, the parent keeps threatening one thing. At some point, does the kid stop listening? Does Europe and China, I'm not calling them children, but you get my analogy, which is basically, do they finally just say, you've cried wolf too many times, we're just going to go about our existence? Or do they really have to listen to these threats and take them seriously?
Well, I think given that the president has actually put tariffs on countries, he hasn't just threatened it. And really, that is really the core, I think, of the Trump economic agenda, really more so than the tax cuts. I think I would take it very, very seriously. It's something he can do unilaterally. If there's anything we've learned over the past 3 years, is that getting trade deals is very difficult. But the president starting trade conflicts and levying tariffs is very, very easy, much easier, I think, than a lot of people thought it was. And it remains a very, I think, potent and easily grasped tool in his toolbox.
Okay, well, I don't know if you heard these. You're probably getting into the studio and getting ready, Jimmy, because the president also today making comments about taxation. So for our viewers that maybe aren't familiar, what the president is mad about is what he calls this digital tax in Europe. Yeah. He says basically like, you know, listen, you're not going to tax our companies. We are going to tax our companies. Here's exactly what he said. I want you to listen and respond.
I'm not going to let people take advantage of American companies, because if anyone's going to take advantage of the American companies, it's going to be us. It's not going to be France.
What do you think?
That is really sort of amazing. These are supposed to be our sort of national champion companies. And listen, if anyone's going to screw with them, it's going to be us. To use your family analogy earlier, don't you pick on my little brother. I'll pick on my little brother.
Yeah, I like that. It's like, yeah, you're not going to tax them. We're going to tax them. Wait a minute. What did I just say? I mean, that's kind of how it goes. I mean, you've now got arguably a three-pronged, maybe not trade war. You basically, you're getting it. We'll keep going. You're getting into like a scuffle with a kid in the recess. You got two other kids on the sidelines. You start insulting them. Pretty soon you got three kids around you. I mean, is the U.S. strong enough to handle this? I mean, our economy's been chugging along. Tariffs haven't seemed to matter that much to the macroeconomic. I know there are specific companies that have certainly been affected. I'm not minimizing that. But is the U.S. strong enough to take on, three kids on the playground, Jimmy?
Or I'll take it off the playground. It's like a guy in a bar saying, I'm going to take on all comers. Certainly, listen, there's been a lot of debate about the impact of the trade war on the economy. I always like going back to those business investment numbers. That was supposed to be the heart of the Trump tax cuts, boosting business investment. We really only saw it for a very short period of time. I think it has had an impact. And again, listen, 10 days ago, Goldman Sachs came out with a very bullish, pretty bullish report for 2020. And the key to that report really was kind of a trade war pause. Instead of a trade war pause, we're getting more flare-ups around the world.